I mean, where do I start? My father, let's just say he wasn't around much. My mother, she died when I was 12. What? My life has been filled with nothing but pain. Until I got into video games. My whole life, video games have been there for me. They've helped me through, the toughest times. That's why I got into collecting consoles, because they helped me through the... You've been asleep this entire time, haven't you? Roy, what the fuck? You just got this job! Good luck keeping it. But this just goes to show. People don't want to hear about pain. So instead, let's talk about something less painful. So let's take a look on the list to see what I haven't talked about that I can talk about today. Already talked about those. Already talked about those. Already talked about those. Already talked about those. Oh wait, no, here's one. How about I talk about the Sega Dreamcast? I haven't talked about that yet. And it's one of my favorite consoles of all time, so this should be fun. Oh yeah? What's your first? Foul. Sega, after coming off the huge success of the Sega Genesis, would release a number of add-ons like the Sega 32X and the Sega CD, which was just as bad of an idea as the Virtual Boy. But that didn't matter, because they would then release their next console, the Sega Saturn. We'll talk about this console another time, but let's just say, they did not know what they were doing with this one. But they would then come out with their actual next-gen console, this Sega Dreamcast. But when was it announced? And what changed from announcement to release? Well, originally there was talks to make a 64-bit Saturn II. But thankfully, that never happened. CEO Shoichiro Iramajiri wanted a new console, and so in 1997 he would enlist Tatsuya Yamamoto, IBM, to lead a team of 11 to work on a secret project under the codename Black Belt. But even though they were the ones tasked to develop it, the final Dreamcast was apparently developed by an internal Sega team that was led by Hideki Sato. And after all that, the Dreamcast was officially revealed to the world on May 21st of 1998. The Sega Dreamcast was released on November 27th, 1998 in Japan, September 9th, 1999 in North America, and October 14th, 1999 in Europe. The console would launch with a really solid lineup, with fantastic games like Soul Calibur, House of the Dead 2, and of course, Sonic Adventure. But just like the GameCube that we talked about last year, the Dreamcast games would just get better and better as they went. Games like Jet Set Radio, Skies of Arcadia, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Choo Choo Rocket, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Samba de Amigo, Crazy Taxi, Sonic Adventure 2, Shenmue 1 and 2, so many good games! But, like I said before, the Dreamcast was Sega's last home console. So, we should start getting into the downfall. Crazy Taxi 2! Sorry, I just wanted to name one more. The Dreamcast was released 2 years before the PlayStation 2, and 3 years before other competitors like Nintendo and the newcomer Microsoft. This gave the Dreamcast an edge and made it get ahead of everyone else. Well, in North America it helped. Unfortunately, it released to not great reception in Japan. On a related note, did you know the Dreamcast was actually the first console to have a built-in modem, which made it capable of internet access and online play? That had nothing to do with what we were talking about. I hope you know that. I just forgot to mention it earlier, so I thought I'd mention it now. But better late than never, right? Anyway, so the Dreamcast had a very successful US launch, but unfortunately, it wouldn't last because once the PlayStation 2 came out, interest in the Dreamcast would steadily decline, which, like I said last year, sold. The Dreamcast sales did not match Sega's expectations, even after several price cuts. Because of this, the company suffered financially, and after Sega had a change in leadership, the Dreamcast would officially be discontinued on March 31st of 2001. Which means this console only lasted 3 years. And this is what led to Sega deciding to stop making consoles and take a step back and become a third-party developer. Even though the Dreamcast was only on the market for 3 years, people will still remember this console in high regard, because indie companies actually still make games for it to this day. And that just goes to show, even though the Dreamcast was a huge commercial failure, people still love this console. It was ahead of its time with internet access, online play, and downloadable content. And the Dreamcast was just a fantastic console. Had innovative games like Shenmue that has graphics that still look good to this day. You know what? You're right, Snowball. And I wish this thing lasted longer. What's up with you?
I lost my job.
Again?